Hey Orchinistas, welcome to the channel Forever Orchids. Do you have an orchid that looks like this? Or maybe you have one that looks like this. Or maybe you have an orchid that looks like this. If you have any of those orchids, you're going to want to stay tuned. Today I'm going to do a demonstration for you and show you how to virus test your plants. Virus in orchids. The big two that we're going to talk about today, Cymbidium mosaic virus and Odontoglossum ring spot virus. Cymbidium mosaic virus, CYMMV, probably the most common and widely distributed virus. It's generally found only in cultivated orchids, not those found in the wild. It infects a very wide range of orchids with chlorosis or necrosis on the foliage in a mosaic pattern, streaking, or lesions. Virus symptoms consist of color break, irregular discolored spots, or streaks on the petals. Odontoglossum ring spot virus. The foliar symptoms generally include chlorotic or necrotic ring spots or streaks, which may or may not be sunken. In the case of orchid varieties with reddish or violet pigmented leaves, the symptoms could include intense red pigmentation. Flower symptoms are common. How are they transmitted? Both viruses are transmitted mechanically during normal horticultural operations such as watering, feeding, trimming, and repotting, which is why it is vitally important to keep sterile tools and test regularly for viruses. Okay, here are the tools that you will need for virus testing. Sterile razor blades, gloves, paper towel, test strips, tube of buffer solution, and tamper, cardboard holder that comes in your test kit. Let me tell you a little bit about this plant here. So this one here is one that in a previous video I mentioned my Orchid Society did an auction. And in that auction, there were a couple of plants that we virus tested because they were so highly valuable. And they turned out to be virused. And I told you in that video that I got a division of that plant. So this particular one is mounted, and it was virus free in January of 2020. This is now 2025. 2025. So it's been 5 years. So it is highly possible that this one could be virused. And because the other plants that are the same as this one were virused, I'm a little sad to do this because I really don't want this to be virused, but I'm pretty sure it is virused. However, it shows absolutely no symptoms whatsoever. Every part of this plant looks great. We do have a couple little yellowing starting on some tips of the leaves. I've had this plant in my collection since, I think, July of 2025. It's now October. So this is definitely one that we are going to test. Now, I am currently holding it over here on the mount, on the cork over here. Yes, I am near some roots, and there's some roots in the back that could very much be touching my hands. One thing about virus testing and about viruses, period, is you need to make sure you keep your plants separated that you're testing. And I'm going to wear gloves when I am actually cutting the material and touching the plant. So I'm going to bring you overhead to show this demonstration. I'm going to start by putting on rubber gloves, and I am definitely going to use separate rubber gloves for each plant that we test. And I'm going to go ahead and set up. Now I am using the Aggie test. Okay, so we're going to have our test strips. Now, I also have razor blades, and I've got razor blades, one for each plant that we're going to test. And I've got a little paper towel here that we're going to put our little sample on and cut it. Now, when you are testing your plants, you're going to want to use the newest pseudobulb. And this mature pseudobulb here is the one that has been growing since July. When I got this plant, I think it had just started growing a new pseudobulb. So this one here is what we're going to test. Okay. And you don't need a large sample. You only need about, according to the instructions, about a 5 millimeter by 5 millimeter piece. And I've seen where some people will do the tips. I've seen where some people talk about they will do more of the middle section here. But I'm just going to cut us off a piece here. Keep my hands out of the way of the razor blade. And just cut a piece off. Okay. And then I'm going to cut it into sections here. And this is probably all I'm going to need is this little piece right here. This is out of the center section. And then what you do is you open up your test tube here. This is the rapid antigen test. And we're testing for Cymbidium mosaic virus, or CYMV, excuse me. And we're also going to be testing for Odontoglossum ring spot virus. Now, once I have put my piece down in here, I'm going to press it down to the bottom. Okay. And oh my goodness. Well, let's just, didn't mean to do that. Hopefully there will be enough. But you know, this plant is so important that I'm just going to get another vial. I can get this piece out now. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to get another vial. Clumsy hands here. I want to make sure that there's enough of the solution in there. And I'm going to pour this solution from one test kit into the other, hopefully. I hope. There it goes. Alrighty. So your test kit will come with your buffer solution in a tube, and you will come with a stick. And you want to press down your piece that you've just put in there all the way in the bottom, and you want to keep chopping, chop, 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 chop. And what we're doing is we're breaking up that tissue and that chlorophyll, and we're getting that chlorophyll into our test tube. Put the top back on it. Set it over here so it will set upright for a second here. All right, I took my gloves off. I just can't work very well with those gloves. So when you open up your test strip here, you're going to want to pull out and keep your fingers only on the end here. You don't want to contaminate this end. And we're going to open up our tube again. Okay, go set my vial down in here. Okay. And then I'm going to bring the camera down so that we can do a time lapse and we can watch this test. After running the first test, I ran it again. I have 2 tests and they are only showing 1 line, showing the control. My plant does not have virus, Cymbidium mosaic virus or Odontoglossum ring spot virus. That I am so excited. Let's test this plant. This is at one of the places that I volunteer at. This is BC Maikai cultivar Mayumi. It was tested about a year ago, but it was on a different mount. This is a division. None of the leaves looked like they were virus, except for this new growth looked really suspicious. This one right here. Look at that spotting. Well, unfortunately, that plant is virused. It has Cymbidium mosaic virus. So the BC Maikai cultivar named Mayumi has gone to the trash pile. It has definitely been disposed of. It is best to take those virus plants and get them out of the collection. So that one is gone. I hate to see any plant virused. Let's test this plant. This is at a place that I volunteer at. The plant is in bloom. Now, we had multiple divisions of this plant. Several of them did test positive for viruses. So let's look at the leaves. Have no symptoms whatsoever that they are showing, but let's test it now. Remember this plant that I showed you earlier on in the video? Let's virus test it now. Woohoo! Yay! That plant virus free. Yes. So what that was on that leaf that you saw, that was cold damage. That was one of the plants that I recently got that was kept outside. And at some point in time, and this was one that I got from somebody else, and it was kept outside, and so that was cold damage, not virus. on the leaf of that plant. Now that plant is LC Final Blue Royal, I think it's Royal Purple is the cultivar name. And that's a Maricloned plant. And I don't think that plant has bloomed. Hopefully I'll be able to get it to bloom. I did notice on the tag, it's going to need a repot. The only thing on the tag date-wise was September of 2011. It's now 2025. So if that hasn't been repotted, it's some of it is in leca. I'm not sure what else is in the plastic pot. If it's all leca, it's fine. There's no media that's breaking down or anything like that. But I might want to get it in a different setup for my indoor growing environment. So, yay! That's another one of mine in the collection that does not have virus. Yay! I'm so excited. Now, the other plants that I have tested that are in this video, they were at one of the places that I volunteer at, and they, yeah, virused. So I hope you found this video very helpful. If you have any questions, please put those in the comments. I do respond to the comments. And until next time, guys, happy orchid growing. Bye.